When it comes to grad school admissions, different exams present different challenges. I'm Julia, and because I took the GMAT focus and was able to do very well, I wanted to discuss some of the unique challenges that this particular exam presents. You might have options on which exams you take, but for some MBA programs, the GMAT is definitely preferred. You also might decide that this sounds like a better fit for you once we go through the challenges and how to address them. Without further ado, may I present to you 5 unique challenges to overcome on the GMAT focus. One such challenge with the Focus Edition, especially as compared to the GMAT Classic, is that it is much shorter. The total exam time is a little over 2 hours with one optional 10-minute break. Now, this might sound like a good thing, especially compared to some 3 or 4 hour exams. And it is. The challenge is that there are fewer questions than there were before, so there are fewer opportunities to get back on your feet if you make some mistakes. The new Quant section is only 21 questions, the new verbal is 23, and they've added data insights, which is 20. The solution: focus on high accuracy, as each question has a greater impact on your overall score. This is best achieved through untimed practice when you first learn concepts so that you can establish a very strong knowledge base. Another challenge that's related to this first one is streamlined content. When I was preparing for the GMAT Classic, I spent a lot of time on sentence correction questions, which are not featured at all, and geometry, which is featured in a heavily reduced capacity. The downside is that if you're really good at the things that they cut, you can no longer rely on those skills to boost your score. The upside: you have to learn less material. You do have to learn it better, but there's less overall. The GMAT focus is a redesign to make every piece of the test count for the makers, takers, and schools. So the topics it still covers are the ones most pertinent and predictive for business school success. The third challenge that sets the GMAT focus apart is the addition, or separation in some cases, of the data insights section. This section features some question styles like data sufficiency that were part of other sections in the past. Having a whole section dedicated to data insights that has to be worked through at once can be intimidating. These skills that these questions test are also often less frequently used for many people. Multitasking and keeping information straight, quickly interpreting information that's presented in a variety of formats, charts, or graphs, and dynamically applying quant and verbal expertise in assorted situations. What can you do about it? Well, strong knowledge foundation, again, great use of your time, but don't be too rigid on solution applications. The nifty but potentially discouraging part of DI questions is that they ask you to apply the knowledge that you already had to learn for quant and verbal, but the way that you apply it isn't always super clearly related. You will get better at making those connections with practice, but early on it can feel a bit challenging. If you don't get many opportunities to interpret charts or graphs, the New York Times has a free tool that lets you look at the graphs and then gives you some sample questions of things to try or notice. So that's a good resource to incorporate more visuals into your learning. The fourth challenge is that there's not a writing component on the GMAT focus. I know that in the past, some testers like to use the writing component to warm up, so its removal can make the new exam feel kind of fast-paced. Also, schools might still want a writing sample even though it's not included on the exam. So instead of finishing everything up at once and doing well and being done, you might have to provide a writing sample later if the school asks. Or schools might not want a writing sample, but you're a really great writer and that was going to help you stand out. Either way, I recommend putting a lot of work and revision time into your application essays as a way to showcase your writing skills in case you don't get another avenue to do so. The fifth and final challenge I wanted to discuss today is the GMAT calculator. On the old GMAT, you couldn't use a calculator at all. On the GMAT Focus, you can use a calculator, but only during the data insight section, not during the quant section. It's part of the test interface, and I found it to be a little finicky, so make some time to practice with it and get really familiar with how it works. Also, a calculator sounds like a good thing, right? But it can be detrimental to your timing if you're not careful. A lot of DI questions are asking for answers that are easier and quicker to estimate than they are to hard calculate. Check the answer choices first to see what's available before you spend a bunch of time on meticulous math that you end up not needing. And there you have it. 5 unique challenges that come with taking the GMAT Focus. I hope having a heads up about these will help you select the right admissions exam for you. And if you do end up taking the GMAT Focus like I did, maybe these solutions will save you some time. Good luck on your journey, and I will see you in the next video.